Good morning, YouTube. If you're watching this as a rerun instead of the live side, you can skip ahead about 20 minutes. Just getting on here early to get things situated and ready to go. See if I have enough battery life left in my old. Morning, Waylon. What is happening? Josh, good morning. Good to see you all on a beautiful Saturday morning. It's a nice morning here this morning. Finally, the wind settled down. It's been a windy spring, man. 10-4, Jesse. I got Cory Johnston coming on here with Lane LLC for the first half, talking a few suppressors and what have you. So, see what the wait time is. On the day shift, that doesn't pay nearly as well. Holy cow, that's terrible. Ugh. Morning, Mr. Bulgy. I gotta call Ben. I gotta call Benner up. I gotta see Karen. Good morning. Good to have you this morning here. This morning. Good. Okay. I gotta see if my rainfall insurance is kicked in yet. There ain't no rain. Morning, one shot cap. See if it's kicked in. Scott, I don't know if you've gotten any updated information on that. I don't know if you do rainfall insurance or not. Not sure. Sunshiny Mandan. Morning, Wayne. Whew. The joys of living in a over 110-year-old house, or 120. Pretty close. You did good on the first paper. You did. Okay. Well, where the hell was mine? We've gotten like 60 hundreds in the last 12 months. What the hell's going on here? I might text him and see what's going on. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Morning, Brian. Let's see. Bulgy, what is it called again? What's the letters for rainfall insurance? I can't forget what it's called again. Anyway, Brian, good morning. JP turned out. Yeah, I'm sure he did. I don't know what happens, but it seems like he steps in roses all the time there. PRF, thank you. Morning, Darren Mundo. Oh, PRF. Dave, good morning. Oh. And Ben is sending me a text back. We'll see how I did. I haven't even gotten a letter or nothing. Happy to take a look. Okay. He's out of town for Easter. I forget it's Easter weekend. I do. Okay. Let's focus. Got some cows moved yesterday. Got some pears moved. Took quite a bit. I don't get a letter from the insurance company. I just have to ask Ben. Okay. I didn't get nothing, so I didn't get a damn thing. My crayons are sharpened. The helmet's on tight. Today's going to be a great day. Yep. Damn right. Thanks for your help yesterday, Jay. Appreciate it. Thanks for supper. This is going to surprise everybody that knows me. But for the first time ever, I had a seafood. I don't know if you call it seafood. I had walleye dinner last night, or supper, or whatever you want to call it. I call it supper. To me, dinner was like at noon growing up. Now dinner is like, I don't know. Everybody calls everything dinner, so I call it supper. But went into Amadon last night, and I'll tell you what, oh, Keith can cook, man. I'll give him that. So, all right. I make some phone calls here. Same here. Let's see here. Good grief. My memory isn't what it used to be. There it is. Message 1.
Whatnot.
Morning. We get Cory. Give him a couple minutes before I call Cory. Damn right, Jim. It is supper, right? That's what I call it. What do you consider dinner, Jesse?
Noon.
Thank you. Some people are telling me that dinner is a fancier supper.
Dinner, what was that now?
They say dinner is a fancy supper.
No.
I agree. Lock you in there. Lunch and supper is what Darren says. I don't know. I just remember remember the old westerns where they always rang the dinner bell? That was at noon.
Yep.
They didn't ring it at 7:30 at night. So I don't know. What do we know, man? We're just here to entertain. Okay. Hey, do I have insurance on my horses?
Nope.
Okay. After yesterday, can I take insurance out and beat one of them over the head with a shovel and collect insurance?
I think so.
Isn't that how it works?
No, I guess not.
Waylon says dinner is for city folks. Okay. Eric, good morning. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, man. Yeah, it was got most of them moved yesterday, and then never fails with young calves that are less than a week old. You know, they're running back and running all over the place, and I gotta go through and sweep it again today.
Yeah.
Do the last ones. You could say that shovel beating was an act of God. I could say that, because there's a good chance I'd be using his name in vain while I'm doing it. See, Darren knows how to get around insurance policies. He knows how to do it. At least I call and ask you before I do it.
Yeah.
You still in bed? What's going on here?
No, I'm making coffee and everybody else is still in bed. So just give me a minute.
Gotcha.
I'm going out to the hot tub garage.
Do it from the hot tub.
Dang right.
Well, I tell you, I seen an email that was sent to me saying that Silencer Co. or whatever, is covering the cost of the tax stamp for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on because Dakota Silencer or Silencer Central is their new name. They're doing the same thing.
Are they?
So I don't know if maybe it's something that the feds are allowing them to do, or if we're going to see the tax stamp go away finally, like it should, or what's happening there. But maybe Cory's got something to tell us about that.
Yeah, hopefully he'll know. Yep, Levi. They had the deal at Shields for a week. Okay. Morning, Dan Brown. Yeah, be interesting to see what's going on in the Silencer world. Shields was offering for a few weeks back. Okay. Yeah. What is it? It's still 200 or 250 or whatever it is? 200.
All right, get ready to level me. I'm going to start talking full volume. All right, there. Now I'm outside. Wife got home off the airplane at about 1 o'clock in the morning, still in bed, so I was trying to be quiet. Enough of that shenanigans.
Shenanigans. If you say that one more time, I'm going to pistol whip you.
Pistol whip you. I watched that with Karina a few days ago. That show was so stupid.
What the hell is it? Super Troopers or whatever?
Super Troopers, yeah. Farva. Hey, Farva, what's that restaurant you went to the other night? You mean shenanigans?
Whoa! And the guy hands the chief his pistol. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Darren needs to get some guns threaded. Yes, you need to get them all threaded. Just do it. Do it.
Used Silencer Central's threading service, where you ship it to them and they ship it back. Turnaround time was very good, and the threads look very, very nice.
Well, we'll see.
Because I was having a hell of a time.
Hold on there, buddy. Stations, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central on Mark. Okay.
I was having a hell of a time finding somebody up here to do it.
Yeah.
I called all these places in Bismarck that people told me about, and I wasn't getting any phone calls back. The guy in Zap that was doing it for a while, I did get a message back from either him or his wife, I can't remember, and he was not doing them at the time. He still got a full-time job at the plant.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. I'm going to call Cory up here real quick. So stand by.
Sounds good.
Maybe I can do it right there. I can do it on here. Okay. Nice.
Can do it as you're still on?
I can. Never tried it before. Never tried it. I'll be damned.
Yeah, and I can't hear the dial tones either from my end. Hello, I heard them over.
Morning, Cory.
Morning.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Got you on with myself and a friend of mine, Jesse Flath here. We're gonna tag team the morning show together.
Sure.
Do you?
Morning, Cory.
Cory, do you thread rifles too?
We actually don't do it at the shop.
Okay.
We use a guy out of Sturgis. He charges $60 a gun, so we
That's
we
it.
can't tear our machines down and do it for that.
Wow. $60. That's cheap.
Yeah, yeah. He does good work. He chambers all my match guns.
Wow.
So as long as he's around doing that, there's just no reason for me to tear down. My machines are better off making suppressors.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were just discussing trying to. Somebody asked, Waylon asked Jesse, "Did you try Bloodline Kinetics?"
I don't remember. I called probably 5-6 places that guys told me about in Bismarck, and never could get a call back from anybody.
Okay.
Oh, so, to get your barrel started?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find anybody up here to do it anymore.
Really?
And I know there's places around that supposedly do it, but when I try for 2-3 weeks to try to call, and I either get numbers that are disconnected or I never get a call back from them, I don't know. I got frustrated. So I was telling Scott I use the mail-in service through Silencer Central, I guess, and the turnaround time was quick. The threads look really nice. It is expensive. It's about twice as much as your guy in Sturgis. So
yeah.
By the time you get to pay for the shipping, and
yeah,
they send you a big old box, and you can send 2 guns down at once, so that helps. So if you're gonna do it, I actually found a buddy, my neighbor. He had a barrel he wanted done, so we shipped 2 of them down there, which split the shipping cost between us. But it still ends up being about 118 or something like that a gun.
Sure.
Well, I go down through Sturgis once a month, so
yeah. He chambers all my match guns. He does good work.
Nice.
And he retired recently, and so now he's doing it full time. But I thought, well, shit, his turnarounds are going to be real fast. But no, he just got more work. So he's still running about 3 weeks behind right now.
Yeah, person should just do it when you're not like using them, like right now.
Yeah.
No hunting seasons right now for a while. Just get them all threaded and be done.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple minutes here before starting up here. Joel Ackerman and Dickinson threads barrels.
I did hear that. I did not try him. I should have, because I do get the Dickinson at least every other month, if not more often than that. So I should have called Joel.
And let's see here. Mandan Sporting Goods has a guy that does it also. So.
Oh. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, if I still live down in the Bowman area, Sturgis would be a great option for you guys down there, because I know Cameron still does it in Bowman, but he's there again.
Yeah, busy
due to full-time job. You might be 2-3 months before he can get to you.
Yeah, he charged me back when I got I took like 5 or 6 guns into him. I'm like, I want them all threaded, and he charged me $100 each. Is what he charged me for those.
That seems like the average rate, I guess. I know Nathan Dagley at Straight Shot down in Center used to do them, and he used to have it scheduled. He would thread 1 week a month, and he would set up one of his machines. Like Cory said, he'd tear down one of his lathes and have it so the big bore to where he could get the guns in there with the actions on them and whatnot, and he would thread for 1 week, and then that was it. And then it was done till the next month. So he would do them, but it was a wait, because he makes all kinds of stuff. He makes muzzle brakes. He does full-on gun builds with action.
Here we're 15 seconds from startup time, so I'm going to turn you 2 down here. So stand by. Stations, 15 seconds to show time on mark. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Scott Bachmeyer with you here on a beautiful Saturday morning, broadcasting from the Badlands of North Dakota, all across the Dakota Territory and around the world here on my YouTube channel. Thank you, subscribers, for coming on and joining in here on a pretty decent Saturday starting out here. We need some moisture, but The sun is shining finally. Get some grass growing here. On the show today, we have from Lane Silencers, Lane LLC, out of Rapid City, South Dakota, Cory Johnston. Good morning, Cory.
Morning.
And from Hazen, North Dakota, Jesse Flath from Western Frontier Insurance. How you doing this morning, Jesse?
Good.
So we got the A team of educated people on the radio this morning for everybody to ask questions. If you have a question, comment, you can always call in at 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682, or you can text me or live chat with me. My cell number to text me is 701-425-6651. And Cory, starting things out, how is the suppressor world treating you here as we hear some rumors that there's a chance or a potential. Some places, some stores have been saying are doing away with the tax stamp here. What's the story on this?
It's the same thing that's been, for like 12 years. People have been saying the Hearing Protection Act is going to go through and they're going to take the stamp away, but I don't know. I would be a little more optimistic about it if it hasn't been coming up every time a Republican got in office and
right.
and it opens back up again.
Yeah. So how's the business been going? How's suppressors been going here for you?
We've been absolutely overrun. For a while. This first time in quite a while we've had zero inventory. We've had zero inventory for about 6 months. Just trying to.
Oh wow.
So sort of backed up on our production a little bit, and it's such a tough deal because it comes in such waves that if I staff up and run another shift to cover it, then I'll probably have to let them go, in another year.
Yeah.
When it drops again.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, it's good for you. I mean, it's good that you're busy and they're flying off the shelf. But I think a lot of people don't realize is, you see I don't know if you call them big box stores, but you see the big ones that you see on the internet all the time. And I don't know if anybody's, I've got a few people on my YouTube channel here. They said he absolutely loves his Lane suppressor, but he needs to buy another one for his 9mm pistol. And your suppressors are one of the quietest suppressors in the market right now. And you test them against all the other ones. How do you go about testing them?
We haven't tested in a while, but we actually have a B&K sound meter that can measure, up to 12 milliseconds of peak pressure wave, which it's hard. It's hard to actually, you have to have the right equipment because the pressure wave of a muzzle blast is so short to catch that peak. So you have to have either 1970s equipment or like $20,000 scientific equipment here to be able to do it. So we opted for the 1970s
version of it.
Yeah. But we can actually capture the peak of a pressure wave. It's just a matter of setting up the mil standard test. It has to be 1 meter to the left of your muzzle, and you just have to set it up and run the test. And it's a matter of running a 10 round unsuppressed baseline and 10 rounds suppressed and getting your averages and calculating it out. It's pretty easy to get the mil standard test done, but
so
it just takes time.
What decibel level is it unsuppressed, and when it is suppressed, what does that come out to be?
Well, it depends on the caliber. So say like 300 Weatherby, you're in the 168, 170 even. I mean, they'll push over that 170, especially if you're running a break. Yeah. Down to 100 on a Magnum. The sonic crack's gonna be a little louder, so you're gonna be down to around 136, 137 suppressed, which OSHA standard under 140 is technically hearing safe. Good. Where it's not damaging you.
So you're in the 130s on that. Okay.
Yep. And basically, most of ours, where our aim is to be down to the sonic crack of the bullet being the loudest part of the system.
Yeah.
And when you hit that, because you can add more length, you can add more whatever, and it doesn't get any quieter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. And what's the short? Oh, I have a text message. What type of suppressor would you need for a 357 lever action rifle? And is that for that rifle type, then can it be used in other calibers?
Yeah. So it'd be we have our Scorpion 375. That's good. It's good up to, I run it on my 9mm sub guns.
Okay.
Um, and we made it for that 375 SOCOM. You could actually run it on a 375 H&H if you want. It's just, it's not going to be done with Sonic Crack on that platform, but
yeah.
Yeah, that would work. We've been doing actually a lot of them for lever guns lately. The 4570 lever guns with our Scorpion 458. With that 357, our Scorpion 375 would work just fine.
4570 suppressed. That would be nice, Jesse.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, his mine is so loud.
Yeah, they've been selling to a lot of those lever guns lately. That's been kind of and they're selling them with threaded barrels already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Most companies right now, I would suspect almost all of them are using threaded barrels right now is when they're selling them.
Yeah.
So
usually you have an option, either or.
Yeah. I just don't understand why anybody would want to use a muzzle brake.
Yeah. At these matches, it's getting to where like 70-80% are using them.
Really?
At these PRS matches, because they just get that little teeny bit better recoil reduction than the Canon. I don't know. It's obnoxious.
It's so loud.
The next match I'm going to, they actually have you squad with a group, and they have a squad that's a suppressed squad, so we can all sign up for that squad, so we're not around all the breaks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Cory. You talk about running tests like that? Have you ran a test where you've taken one specific gun, whatever the caliber may be, and tested it open barrel, and then tested it with a brake, and then tested it with the can on it? Because them brakes, I'd be interested to see what your meter would say when that brake is on, because they are so obnoxiously loud. I don't.
It's not supposed to change it. It's supposed to actually meter the same, but the difference is it's directing it directly. It's directing it more towards you,
right into your ear hole.
So it'd be equivalent to you standing on a non-braked gun and standing, a foot past the muzzle with your,
right.
It'd be like the equivalent to somebody shooting right behind you, without a brake.
Yeah. I bought a brake. I won a brake at a coyote tournament one time, and I thought, this would be cool. I put it on my 223 AR. I literally took one shot, and I was so mad. I literally took that brake off and threw it out in the pasture. It's still out there somewhere.
Were you shooting out of a window?
No, I wasn't. I was on my bench, but still, it was just ridiculous. Shooting out a window.
Window.
Definitely a Midwesterner thing, I think.
Yeah,
either that or downtown LA.
Yeah. Well, folks, we're going to take a short break here. And don't wait for the cops to start knocking on your window there, Jesse. We'll be taking a break here. We'll be back more talking suppressors with Cory Johnston out of Lane LLC, Rapid City, after these messages.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, BowmanLivestockMarketing.com. Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch invites you to their annual production sale, Friday, April 25th, 1 p.m. at the Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 75 head of bulls, 65 head of commercial black and black white face heifers. Featuring sons of SAT Wolverine, ZWD Summit, Medrock Beaver Creek, Medrock Reef, resource, B-Bar Black Mass, and many others. Longevity, good udders, and structure in mind, you'll see why they say it's not just about the pounds, it's about efficient pounds. Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch and guest consignor Spring Angus, Friday, April 25th, 1 p.m. at Bowman Livestock Marketing. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to some upcoming auctions, land auctions in Ramsey, Lemoore, Towner, and Norman County, and for equipment auctions, the Shiley Farm Retirement Auction in Drake on April 24th, and the Myers Estate Equipment Auction coming up in Mandan on April 25th, and the Holte Farm Retirement Auction on April 29th. For more information and to bid with confidence, go to Pfeiffer's.com.
At Spring Angus, we demand more from our cattle because you deserve a problem-free cow herd. Sound feet, solid udders, and easygoing dispositions are non-negotiables. This year, we're bringing 13 bulls sired by OCC Big Time, OCC Rear End, OCC Great Plains, and B-Bar Black Mass 3045. With Medicine Rocks Angus selling 65 registered Angus bulls and 65 replacement quality heifers. We'll see you in the seats April 25th at Bowman Livestock Marketing in Bowman, North Dakota. Follow Spring Angus or Medicine Rocks Angus at Facebook for more details.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down, and when that time comes, I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, across the Dakota Territory. Talking with Suppressors from Lane LLC out of Rapid City, South Dakota. Cory Johnston is my guest here. Jesse Flath is in the air chair here with me here as we discuss a little bit more about suppressors. Cory, turnaround time. I've been hearing some rumors that, because the last suppressor I got was through you, and I haven't bought one since then. But turnaround time seems like it's faster than it ever has been right now.
Yes. Yep. They started the eForms account or the eForms system where it's all done online now. There's no more mailing off anything. It started off a little rocky. It started January of 22 is when they opened that back up again, but it was pretty rocky and it was supposed to be really fast, and then it took a while. And then in the last maybe 2 months, most of them have been coming back. That they've got it kind of cleaned up. Most of them are coming back between a day and 4 days now.
A day and 4 days. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you were talking off air here. I was discussing with you a little bit about the Hearing Protection Act. Is that something that's going to be coming back here now that Trump's back in office, or what's happening?
Well, Yeah, like I said, it's really surprising to me. Last time Trump got in, and that Hearing Protection Act was a thing, we had to lay off 2 machinists just because they thought, that Trump's going to get that through, and I'm not going to pay the $200 tax. I'm going to wait till it does, till that
Yeah.
comes through, and it just absolutely, nobody wanted to buy, so I had to cut my production way down. Well, I don't know why, but this time Trump got in, we're overrun. So yeah, trying to predict this is just anybody's guess. But
Would you
but
like
it is,
would you like to see it be like an over the counter type of situation?
for me. It would probably put us out of business.
Why is that?
Because if they make these just over the counter throwaway items, people are just going to buy stamped baffle sections from China and make
Yeah.
$30 suppressors that you can throw away.
Yeah.
We can't compete with that. I mean, we run a lot of machine time. I mean, I'm sure there'll still be some of a market for the quality, but if it's not taxed and not regulated, it'll be like Africa, where you can buy a $50 can from the hardware store.
Yeah.
And it's not good. They're not great, but who cares? You just throw it away when it's done.
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to hearing, I would it would surprise me if people wouldn't want something of better quality.
I'm not saying that they're not good as far as the suppression. I mean, it's not terribly hard to make it so it's hearing safe, but just durability and longevity, they won't care.
Yeah. Darren chimes in. He says on YouTube, he says those China ones will have too many tariffs on them.
Yeah. Well, at least for maybe 3 more years. Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah. 3 more years and the price goes back down. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So it's surprising, like for me, it'd be great to see over the counter, but I never thought of like it'd be hurting the mom and pop businesses like you. It really would. Yeah.
I mean, of course, for the beliefs, I believe they should be over the counter. I don't think they should be regulated.
Yeah.
I mean, but as a business, it would, it would definitely affect us, because that's all we do. That's our thing. We make suppressors and we don't do anything else.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I love your suppressors. Now, I took my elk with it last fall, and it was just awesome, because out of I think there was 12 elk in that bunch, and I shot the one I hit, and the other ones just sat there and put their head back down and started grazing again. People don't realize how nice it is, not only for hearing protection, but it's easier on the animals.
Yeah,
it really is. So caliber specific. So I have a 30 caliber can, and I'm running that on my 6.5 all the way down to my 223 or 22 250. And have you ever did a test where caliber specific, that tighter tolerance, is it quieter than if I had a 6.5 Creed suppressor on my 6.5? Would it be quieter than my 30 cal can that I have now?
You won't be able to tell.
You wouldn't. Okay.
No. So once you're down to the sonic crack, there's nothing more you can do. All you can do is get shorter and handier.
Yeah.
Until you would go above what that sonic crack's generating. The tones do sometimes sound a little different, even though they'll meter the same. So there is that, but you shouldn't really tell much. You shouldn't be able to tell a difference. Now, I haven't metered like a 6.5 Creedmoor on the Magnum, just because, like I was saying, it's very time consuming to meter these and do mill standard testing. So we can't run every caliber and everything, but I have shot them. I've shot that Magnum on my 223, and I can't tell you between that and my 5.56 can.
Okay. It's interesting because, why wouldn't you want to just get a 30 caliber can and use it on everything that you can, for the most part, right? I mean,
well, because it's big. It does make a difference getting in and out of vehicles. That extra 2.5 inches in length that you don't need does make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, my rifle, Jesse will attest to this. My rifle that I'm shooting right now is not a get out of the pickup fast rifle. It's substantially heavy and long.
So we did kind of make a new one just for that reason, that our new modular. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
I'm on your website here. I'm looking at a few of them. Yeah.
The M series, if you pull up that And with that one, because so many people have a 6.5 Creedmoor they run on deer and a 6.5 PRC they're running on elk or whatever, and they don't want to buy a King or a Magnum they don't want to use the King or Magnum on their Creedmoor. They go with that modular, and you can take 2 inches off of it, run it on your Creedmoor, then add the extension and run the 2 inches longer and run it on your PRC.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You have everything here, and it says the max powder charge here for each one of those. That's nice to have that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So like in the 30 cal one, you can go from 308 in the short, or the blackout or whatever in the short to 300 Win Mag in the long.
Yeah. And yeah, you have a whole list of them here. So how long is it if somebody were to contact you here today? How long would they have to wait? I mean, I know you're busy and you're producing as fast as you can. What would the wait time be for just getting it built?
Oh, well, we're actually able to get them done within the week now.
Okay.
We were a month behind about a month ago. We just got caught up, got a little bit of inventory, and then got a big order yesterday. So now we're back down to nothing.
Yeah.
But
Eric chimes in. He says barrel swing radius is kind of tough on a 20-inch barrel when you're trying to shoot coyotes from the deer blind. So,
yeah. Yeah. And coyotes are their biggest thing. That's just been a game changer for years now. But what were you asking?
Well, I was going to see, if you order a suppressor through if you're not in South Dakota, do you still have to ship it to an FFL dealer in and around other states?
Yep.
You still got to do that?
Yeah. Yep. Either one of our dealers that are in your state or any Class 3 dealer, you can buy direct from us and we transfer it. We still have to transfer it, but that's the transfer to that dealer is taking 1 day.
Okay.
When I submit it, it's coming back in a day. Usually we ship it either that next day or the day after that. If it's something standard. If it's something we don't have in inventory, then it might be like 3 or 4 days before we get it to that dealer. But then when you go to that dealer and he does the form to get it to you, that's the one that's taking a day to 4 days.
Okay.
So you can be under a week pretty easily.
Yeah. No,
to have in it.
Awesome. Because what was it? It used to be like almost 10, 11 months to get it back when the very first one I got.
Yeah, 14 months. The longest stretch I had was an average of 14 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Cory, before we let you go here, tell people where they can find more information about here, Lane Suppressors, and where can they find it?
You can just search Lane Silencers. It'll come up. Lane, we have actually two web addresses, lane-products.com and Lane Silencers. It all links you to the same one. So a search usually gets you to us.
Yep. Lane LLC. Cory Johnston, appreciate you coming on the program here this morning. Have yourself a great Saturday, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
You bet, Cory. We'll have more coming up in the second half of the program, talking scopes with Jesse here, and we'll be back right after these messages.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch invites you to their annual production sale, Friday, April 25th, 1 p.m. at the Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 75 head of bulls, 65 head of commercial black and black white face heifers. Featuring sons of SAT Wolverine, ZWD Summit, Medrock Beaver Creek, Medrock Research, resource, B-Bar Black Mass, and many others. Longevity, good udders, and structure in mind, you'll see why they say it's not just about the pounds, it's about efficient pounds. Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch and guest consignor Spring Angus, Friday, April 25th, 1 p.m. at Bowman Livestock Marketing. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Pfeiffer's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to some upcoming auctions, land auctions in Ramsey, Lemoore, Towner, and Norman County, and for equipment auctions, the Shiley Farm Retirement Auction in Drake on April 24th, and the Myers Estate Equipment Auction coming up in Mandan on April 25th, and the Holte Farm Retirement Auction on April 29th. For more information and to bid with confidence, go to Pfeiffer's.com.
At Spring Angus, we demand more from our cattle because you deserve a problem-free cow herd. Sound feet, solid udders, and easygoing dispositions are non-negotiables. This year, we're bringing 13 bulls sired by OCC Big Time, OCC Rear End, OCC Great Plains, and B-Bar Black Mass 3045, with Medicine Rocks Angus selling 65 registered Angus bulls and 65 replacement quality heifers. We'll see you in the seats April 25th at Bowman Livestock Marketing in Bowman, North Dakota. Follow Spring Angus or Medicine Rocks Angus at Facebook for more details.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down, and when that time comes, I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Good to have you along here on what looks to be a pretty decent day out there in the Dakota Territory country. Jesse Flath is with me here in the second half of the program. And it's kind of funny because I could actually hear when I was talking to Cory Johnston that you're sitting in your hot tub because I could hear the water bubbling in the background. Thanks for that.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Hope I don't
Technology.
drop the phone in the water.
Today's technology, man, thanks to rural broadband companies and rural electrics, man, we're able to do what we do and carry it across the entire neighborhood here. So, hey, let's talk a little bit. I was on Guns on the 701 last week and or the week before, I can't remember. Time's slipping away for me. But we got to talking about scopes, and Jamie and I were having a discussion about what's your price point when purchasing a scope? What are you looking for? What are you going to use it for? And because it was you who got me onto the Burris way back when on these coyote tournaments, because we had the most expensive vortex at the time, and we had the rangefinders and had the dope charts, and we had all that stuff, and it took forever. And
You're like, they do make a scope, but it's like $1,400. And I'm like, that's it? Let's do it. Right. And the very first coyote tournament, I had that scope and you didn't. You were like, whoa, what's the range? What's the range? And I take the shot and shoot the coyote, and you're like, son of a gun, right? Because you didn't have that, and then you got one, right? So where's the price point? Is it different for what you're using it for, or what you're ranging? I mean, I use it from even at 100-yard shot, I'll still hit that button, even though I know it's going to be right on.
That's the downfall of that Burris Eliminator is you've made fun of me for that. You're like, just shoot them. Yeah. Because if now when Burris first came out with the Eliminator, you got this big book in the box with it, and it had all kinds of calculations and schematics and whatnot, and you had to figure out what your number was to put it in there to get your drop chart electronically into that scope, so that when you push that button and it ranged 593 yards, it knew where to put that red dot for you. Mm-hmm. And everything was based off of a 100-yard zero. Well, since then, they have come out with, now they're on the 6th version of that scope, and all the way back to the 3rd version, which is what I have. They do have a calculator on their website now, and it has tons and tons of factory ammunition numbers in there. If you're a hand loader, you can put your own BC and your own velocity and your own scope height and all that in there, and it will give you a number. And they now have an option to use a 100-yard zero or a 200-yard zero, which is nice. Most of these guns guys are using to hunt with, whether it's coyotes or whether it's moose, they're using at least a 200-yard zero anymore. Not many people use a 100-yard zero. So when you're zeroed at 200 yards, I mean, you on a coyote out to almost 300 yards, you shouldn't have to push that button. But out of habit, I push it every time, and it does. It takes time. It's shortened the time a bunch. We started out with Vortex Viper PSTs, the first version of those, and I still have that on my 300 Win Mag. It is far and above the Burris Eliminator 3 as far as glass goes.
Oh, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm going to do an early morning or sunset hunt, and I know it's going to be one of those situations, and I really need to make sure I can see through my scope, the Burris Eliminator 3 lacks in that department. Now, I have been told their newest version, the version 6, which looks more like a regular scope. I've been told the glass has been upgraded drastically on that. I have not had a chance to get behind one.
Yeah, it is substantially better. So they upgraded the glass on the 4, and the 4 and the 5 really not much difference there. But with the 6 is substantially better, way better glass, more just very, very clear. And
I've always said that.
Yeah, very nice.
I've always said, come on, you guys, do this. Because we were at the price for Burris Eliminator 3, the MSRP was $16.99. You could find them everywhere for $12.99. If you waited, stores had them on sale for $9.99 a couple times a year. Most of mine I paid $9.99 for. Now, for a lot of people, that's still too much money. I compare it to shoes. You've got your Payless shoppers, you've got your department store shoppers, and you've got your I'm buying Jordans. I'm paying $400 for my sneakers. Now, everybody has their price point, but I will say this: when it comes to scopes, there is a difference. And what are you going to be using it for? Are you a paper puncher and you never shoot over maybe 300? You're shooting steel, you're shooting paper. You go hunting once in a while. You can get by with a Vortex Diamondback. You can get by with a Leupold Freedom Vari X1. You can get by with the standard Burris. I don't know the Burris scopes that well, other than the Eliminator, because I use those. But you can get by with that. We'll say $275 to $500 scope and be fine. Now, my daughter got lucky this last winter. She won a few guns. She won a Savage Axis in a 6.5 Creedmoor. That is a base model Savage gun. That is a $430 gun. it has a $950 scope on it.
Yeah.
Because that's her gun. That's probably the one gun she's always going to have and use for almost everything. She's going to hunt coyotes at sunup. She's going to hunt deer at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She's going to shoot paper. She's going to shoot steel at my house. It's going to be everything. And I've just learned over the years, I'm not spending less unless I find a hell of a deal on sale or something. I'm not buying a scope under $500 anymore, because there's a huge difference in glass.
Yeah.
When you start daylight hunting is what I call it. Twilight hunting, I should say.
Twilight, yeah. Well, Here's what I told Jamie about this too. I said, everybody has different price points. However, I would stay away from BSA. I have yet to have a BSA scope on anything that was worth anything, right? A couple of comments coming in. Ivan Lardy here, he says, if you can't see it, you can't shoot it. So it's correct, right? I mean, you're going to get a scope and get it what you want to use for. Levi Nelson says he's got a new scope, a Swaro Z5 by 5 to 25 by 56. He said it wasn't cheap, but it's an amazing scope. So, I mean, there's a lot of great companies out there that have great scopes. What's the price point that you're like, that's just too much? Remember Night Force scopes? Do they still make those?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
That was like the most expensive one in like 15 years ago. It was like just high rated, right? I don't see anybody with Night Force anymore.
Everybody caught them. Everybody caught their technology.
Yeah. I still think just like bang for the buck Vortex is a great scope still.
They are, they surpassed everybody, and now they've kind of planed out. Loopholes. When we were kids, if you had that gold ring on the front of your bell, that guy's got a loophole on his school, and then they fell behind because glass got better and technology got better. Well, now they've come out with the Freedom series, the Freedom and the VX1s through 5s, the Mark 5. The Mark 5 scope is an insanely nice scope, but they're expensive. You pay for quality.
Yeah, and you got to look and take the time to look through them, because that's one thing I did. Whether it's in Shields or any other store that you're looking at scopes, get a chance to some places have it where they can like quick attach it to just a stock of a rifle, and you can actually look at it and see your field of view and how clear it is. It's a little tougher inside. I mean, I don't think it's as great as being outside and looking through it, but
if you're at a store and you're actually serious about buying something, they will walk outside with you.
They will. Okay.
Ask them. They will go outside with you. You just got to ask. It's tough if it's during a busy season and it's a Saturday and the store's full and they only got so many people, but that's why you go shop for scopes on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. That's when you figure it out. If you're going to spend that money, make that purchase, take the time to put into it, because it's a huge difference. We found that in night vision and thermals.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking early on Burris's site. Burris has a thermal scope now. It's like $2,300. I'd be really interested in the quality of that, because you and I have ATNs, and my ATN, when I bought it however many years ago, for $4,600.
Yeah, 45 or 4. Yeah, it was $4 to $5 grand is what it was. Yeah.
And there's thermal scopes out there that are over $10 grand. I've never had the opportunity to look through one. Are they that much better? I don't know.
Yeah.
You go get yourself a pulsar. The advantage of a pulsar over an ATN is it looks like a regular scope.
Yeah.
So do you want a giant square box, 9-volt? Remember those old flashlights that use that big square battery?
Yeah, I do.
That's what my ATN looks like.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
So there is. It's all a price point. We justified those thermals because we bought them at a time when we were getting $100 for a coyote.
Right.
Well, I can tell you right now, both yours and my thermals paid for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the first year. Yeah.
Yeah, that thermal can sit in my gun safe and never get turned on again, and it doesn't owe me a dime, even at the price that I paid for it.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to buy one to go night hunting 1 or 2 times, your wife might have an issue with that.
Well, you just don't need to tell her. The quick attachment text message that comes in says the quick attachment mounts, do they really hold zero and taken off and then put back on? I've never I've never done the quick touch because I don't trust that. So, but people claim that they still keep zero.
I have had one. I will say that I either didn't know how to use it, or my answer would be zero. It does not hold a 0% chance.
0%.
Because here's the theory behind that in my mind. What is your definition of holding a zero? Are you a guy that comes to my house and sights in his deer rifle the day before deer season every year, and as long as you can hit a 2.5 to 3 inch circle, your gun's zeroed and you're ready to go hunting? Or are you the guy that shoots 5 shots, and if you can't cover it with at least a quarter, if not a nickel, something's wrong? And if you're that second guy, quick catch scope mount is not for you.
Yeah.
Let me just say it that way.
Wayne Muth writes in, he says, cheap ain't good and good ain't cheap, especially when it comes to glass in your scopes.
Yeah.
So what's the price point, though? What rifle is the price point? I mean, if you have a 223, I mean, you're limited, right? I mean, you're only limited so far with that rifle. And what's right? I think that has a lot to do with the price point of what you're going to be spending on it. You're probably not going to put a $2,000 scope on a 223, like you would on a 28 Nosler.
Like Levi said, he's shooting a 6 to 25. There's the other argument. Yeah. How much zoom is too much or enough? When we were growing up, a 3 to 9 scope was, oh man, he's got zoom for days. And nobody puts, I've got 3 to 9s on my 22 rimfires. Now you have a scope. I believe your scope on your 6.5 is a 6 to 24, if I remember right.
Yep.
For me, the experience I've had, even with a better scope, unless you really get up in that price range, once I get past about 14, 16, maybe 18 power, everything gets blurry. Mirage starts happening. For me, over about 16 power, and maybe it's my eyes, I'm getting old. I got bifocal contacts now. I feel 100. Maybe it's my eyes. I can't see through a scope that's got that high power. In fact, I've had 2 different spotting scopes that I've gotten rid of because I don't like looking through them. Now you take Levi hunting in the mountains. He's got that 6 to however many he's got. He doesn't necessarily have to carry a spotting scope. He could spot with that rifle.
Yeah, 5 to 25. So the question,
5 to 25,
So Tim asked a question. Nikon makes excellent camera lenses. Are their scopes any good? So the Nikon
used to be awesome.
Used to have good scopes, and then they stopped making scopes. And then out of nowhere, like I think this is like 2-3 months ago, after doing a Saturday morning show, I got a phone call from the guy that used to be the Nikon rep up in this area.
Yeah.
And he says he wanted to come on my show and talk a little bit about it. I was like, is something going on? Is Nikon coming back with something, or what's going on there? I haven't gotten the answer yet, but as of right now, they kind of stopped making scopes there.
The Nikon Pro Staff used to be very good. I actually bought a Nikon Pro Staff scope at an auction sale here about a year ago. It was sitting there, and your younger generation, they don't even know that they're like, Nikon scope, what's that? They don't even know what they are because they haven't made them for quite a while. And I bought that, and it went on one of my guns, and they're a good, robust scope. And when they went away from making them, that's kind of when Vortex showed up on the scene, and we all kind of switched to that, I guess. So it'd be cool if they came back and made it again, because their lenses, they got it figured out.
Yeah, they had good glass, and there's no doubt. So Gene Cox says he discovered a 6x24 was too much scope for the 200 meter to 500 meter silhouette. He said it amplified even every heartbeat and movement.
Yep.
Caused the muscles to get tired fighting all the movement, so he went back to a 4x12.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't have that much issue when I zoom in. And the only problem I have with my burst when I zoom in is because it's a long shot. And
right,
if you zoom too far in, your little red dot where it tells you to hold goes away. So you got to zoom back out a little bit further. And
because it's only got so much drop figured into that scope.
Yeah. So if I could go with a 200 0 on that, that would be nice, because then it would probably give me a little bit more freedom range in that too. So yeah, interesting.
And that's the other whole nother. I mean, we're delving into a lot of topics here. Now, what range is an ethical shot? Some
you wanna
people
get into
anything
that.
over and
Yeah.
that's where we're at. I mean, what do you need? I tell people, well, I need to be able to range out to 700-800 yards at least. And there's, well, you're not taking a shot at that distance. Absolutely, I am.
Yeah.
And some people think that is absolutely against the rules. Well, you and I have hunted together a lot. If the target is sitting still and it's not blowing 50 out, anything inside 800 yards is probably in trouble. And if it's a coyote, I don't care if I wound it. Now, if it's a deer, that might change. If it's big game, the wind is a big thing. Yeah. I'm comfortable, especially with the Bruce Eliminator, or even if I'm using a hand ranger and dialing the scope. I'm comfortable to almost any range as long as I can feel confident in my range.
Yeah.
Wind is the problem. Always anything past 300, 400 yards, wind is your enemy.
Yeah. So get a text here. We'll come back to that here real quick. But my neighbor, old Ron Volk over here, he says, and I forgot about these scopes here. He's got a 3x9 Bushnell on his Savage 243 he bought when he was 14 at Sioux Sporting Goods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, been dropped numbers times here. He said it's still on. He said not like a new one, but still works. But I forgot about the old Bushnells up there. Yeah.
The Bushnell Elite. If you find a Bushnell Elite, they were the king back for a while,
Yeah. Yeah, but going back to the what range is ethical, I think it depends on how often you shoot at different ranges. So, like in the last 4 or 5 weeks of calving, I've smacked down 38 coyotes in that one pasture, and so that gives me the confidence to reach out on a deer, like you said, 500, 600, 700 yards out there, because I've been shooting at targets and hitting targets at those type of ranges.
Yep.
And I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's
all about trigger time. It's all about practice. It doesn't matter if you're shooting free throws, hitting a golf ball, or shooting a gun. Yeah. If you don't have that repetitive muscle memory, get your breathing in check, know how to position your body, you're going to struggle at 300 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's different too. I mean, when I was laying down looking at the elk in my scope on my 28 Nosler, I could definitely get what Gene Cox said about the heartbeat moving the scope, because my heart was racing. I had to take a little extra time and take a few extra breaths, but what was nice was they weren't moving, right? I mean, they didn't know we were there. So that was the beauty part of it's right there. So, well, I tell you what, thanks for coming on here. We're going to have to wrap up here today. We'll continue talking a little bit more here as we finish up on the YouTube side of things. So, Jesse, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate you, buddy.
You bet.
All right, stay by. We'll have more coming up on the After Hours show here. Thanks for tuning in today at all these great radio stations across the Dakota Territory. Eat some meat, drink some milk, wear fur and wool, and make sure to thank farmers and ranchers out there as the private landowners, keeping things going on the conservation side. We'll have more coming up your way. You can catch my daily show on all these great radio stations too. Have a good weekend. All right, stations, thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Give you a little time to get out. Jesse, what's going down now here? Waylon says he's got a Bushnell on his old 270.
So that's where, Simmons used to make a good scope too. Yeah.
I don't know that I would say that they're a good scope.
Boy, I had that Simmons A-Tech. I had the Simmons A-Tech on my 25-06 and on Sarah's 257 Roberts. And they were so good right up until I was over. Sarah and I were we just married or not even married yet? I don't remember. I was hunting over on her land at a mule deer buck tag. There was a pretty decent, probably a 150s, 160s mule deer. I'll never know because I missed him. It was probably the last 35 minutes, 25 minutes of legal shooting time, so it was getting a little tougher to see. I had those deer at about 400 yards, and I could see this buck in there. I'm like, yep, I'm taking that one. They didn't really know I was there. Had about had two other smaller bucks that were kind of what I'll call a satellite buck. They were out at the edge because he was beating the hell out of them. Group of about 7 or 8 does with him. And I'm like, all right, there he is. He's kind of in the middle, waiting for things to move, waiting for him to clear out so I can have an open shot at him. All right, there it is. It's time. And I'm looking with my bare eyes. I pulled up that scope, and I could not tell the smallest doe from the biggest buck. It was that easy. And I thought, what the hell? Did I drop this thing in the mud? So I pulled the rifle back. I look in the objective lens, thinking maybe there was a 1/4 inch of dust on the lens or something. Nope. Perfectly clean, perfectly clear. Pulled back up again. Nope. Can't tell what's what. So I stood up to try to get the deer to move around so I could separate him from the herd, which they did.
Yeah.
Pulled up, was following him. He stopped, but he stopped in a little bit taller grass. There was some CRP up there, as you know, back in the day.
Wow.
I took a shot, total air ball, didn't even come close. The next day, I got up in the morning, I drove to Bismarck, and I bought a different scope. And that was my first Vortex scope I bought.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I will spend a lot of money on a good scope. I have no problem doing that. Actually, I get the call from, so I was at Rapid City Shields a couple months ago, and I was looking. I think it was like in January because I still had money. So I was focused on getting the newest Pulsar scope, the 60, right?
Yep.
And went in there, and I said, today's the day, boys. I said, somebody's going to make commission. And they're like, oh, okay, what are you looking for? I told them I want the XL60. And they're like, oh, we don't have a 60. We got a 50. And I'm like, you don't have it here? And he's like, well, we can get it in a week or so. And he said, they're pretty tough to come by. And so then I looked at the Burris 6, and I said, this is going to probably be my next purchase as rifle scopes go. I said, but it's too bad you don't have that XL60. I said, I would have bought that thing today. They call me probably every other week and remind me that it's still on order, and they're going to get one in. And they still call me all the time, like just wanting to make that sale. so
Yeah.
I now feel like I might have to. Question comes in, Jesse. I have a Simmons too. I have the same problem. Dawn and dusk suck. That's what the mayor says.
And that's where your technology, your glass, and your price point comes in.
Yep.
You know, Burris Eliminator 3, it has a little bit of an issue at dusk and dawn. It's great in the dark. You can hunt on a full moon night and see through that thing perfect, but dusk and dawn, looking towards the sunrise or sunset, you can't get a long enough sunshade on that thing to help it. And that's the problem. That's what I'm hoping on the Burris Eliminator 6 they fixed.
Oh yeah, they fixed that on the 4 and the 5.
My Vortex Viper PST, even my cheaper Leupold Variex Freedom. I got the Variex Freedom AR. Now, I don't know what that scope costs now. I bought it about 1.5 years ago when they first came out. I want to say that scope was under $300. It's great at dusk and dawn.
Mm-hmm.
The technology has gotten so much better that you can get a decent scope for $400. You know, but then you're limited in your zoom. You're looking at probably I think that's a 3 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's on an AR. I'm not going to shoot past probably 3, maybe 400 yards. I don't need range finding capabilities. I'm zeroed at 2. I can shoot dead on out to dang near 3, out to 4. I know I've got to raise up a little bit. Yeah. Now on that scope, that has ballistic lines in it that are made. That's why it's called the Freedom AR. It has ballistic lines in it that are made for a 55 grain 223 bullet. So if you zero that gun correctly, you've got lines at 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600.
Yeah.
So you don't need a range finding capability. It'll get you close enough. And you've got an AR, and you're probably shooting coyotes, so you probably have 30 rounds. So you just keep shooting. So I don't know. For me, I just spent $800 on a scope for my 13-year-old on a $350 gun.
Yeah.
Because, like they said, if you can't see it, you can't shoot it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the Burris 6 here. I got that. I'm complexed, Jesse. Remember that rifle, that 6.5 Creed I got at that auction? That really nice
Was
light.
that carbon one?
Yeah, the carbon barreled one and everything. And
Yep.
Right. That's what I want to set up for my next thermal imaging.
Yeah.
That's what I want to set up for my next night rifle.
Yes, I like that.
But I'm also like, or I could do coyote tournaments and not have to carry around a 30-pound rifle and put a 6 on.
Yeah, but you do a lot more. You do a lot more night hunting than you do tournaments. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I do a lot. I think in any week I'm aiming. A lot of people shoot a lot of paper. Like Jamie and I were having this discussion too. He's like, how much shooting does a person do you need to do, or do you feel like you need to do to keep up on what's going on? And I said, for me, I don't like shooting steel or paper. There's not exciting for me, right? But I also have availability of going out every day and seeing a coyote or prairie dog or something that I can take a shot at. And
I would say that you probably shoot 4 times the amount of days and or rounds than the normal person. Even a person that says they shoot a lot, you shoot more than they do, and you don't shoot paper.
I don't shoot paper. Wayne says, is there a point where we rely too much on our high-end equipment and not enough time on the hunting skills?
No.
I don't know.
I would say no, because the skills. So I'll go back to my what's your zero. I can tell when I haven't shot. So I didn't take a shot at a deer this year. We hunted 1 tournament this year, and I haven't been hunting coyotes because I've been busy chasing kids. For me, a 3 to 5 shot string at 100 yards used to be, it had to be covered by a nickel. If it didn't, I had a problem with my equipment. Something was wrong, or my load, or something wasn't right. Right now, if I go shoot a 5-yard, if I grab any of my guns right now and go down to my bench and shoot 5 shots at that target, if I can cover it with a quarter, I'm really happy, because my shooting skills have went away because I don't shoot as much as I used to. So, like I said, it's no different than free throws or golf or any other skill. If you're not practicing it, it goes away. It dwindles.
But is the technology taking away true hunting skills? I don't. Yeah. So
no, because you still have to be able to spot the deer. You have to either be able to stalk in on them or locate them, or for me, the biggest skill that's went away is landowner relations and access. Everybody bitches about access. I don't have any problem with access, and that's taking you out of the equation. I know I've got access to a big ass chunk of land down there hunting with you, and I'll maybe never understand maybe even how much of a big deal that is. I do have uncles. I can hunt a lot of Swope County between friends and relatives. If I take Swope County out of the mix and can never hunt there again for whatever reason, I still have no problem with access.
Yeah.
I got land all over the place that I know I can get on. You just have to call and visit and ask and tell them what you're doing. Tell them what you're willing to do. Hey, I got a tournament coming up. Is there any way I can hunt your place? Or I drew a moose. I drew a moose tag up there. I've been putting in for moose for what, 20 years?
Yeah, exactly.
I know I have places up by Velva and within a 100-mile radius of Velva. I know I have places to hunt moose because I have built connections already. I might never draw it. Don't know.
Yeah.
But I know I've got places to go.
Yep.
So that's the part that's been lost, I think.
I think that some of it, I see where Wayne's going with this, because take my elk shot last year. Okay. Was 756 yards or something. And the only way that I was comfortable taking that shot is because I know I can hit a coyote at that very consistently. And I had the scope that told me where to hold. This is where it was, right? And I had the rifle and the power behind the rifle that I knew it was going to be a good shot. and it landed right exactly where I wanted it to land, right? I mean, it was would I take that if I had a scope that wouldn't do that for me? Probably not. Right? I mean,
So, but here's my question then. Okay,
I don't know.
my 300 Win Mag. Okay, I got a 300 Win Mag. I'm shooting somewhere between a 180 and a 200 grain bullet. I'm trying to develop a 200 grain round right now. It's not going to be a super fast round. That's heavy for that caliber. It's going to be lobbing it in there, but it's heavy. It's going to hold its power. Okay, that has a Vortex EST Viper 4 to 16 crank on it. You got to crank the turrets.
Yeah.
You got to use a handheld rangefinder or a pair of range-finding binoculars. You got to have some sort of a rangefinder. Okay. So I'm going to take that exact same shot as you. I'm going to hand range it. I'm going to hope I get in the same situation that you were in where they don't know you're there, so I have time. Because now it's a time factor, because I've got to range it by hand. I've got to check my dope chart, figure out how many clicks I need to make. I'm going to make my adjustment on my scope. I'm going to check the wind, which you got to do with your burris as well. And now I'm going to get down behind that gun. I'm going to get my breathing under control, and I'm going to squeeze off that shot. Now that's about a 1 minute to 2 minute long operation. With your eliminator, that is a
5 seconds.
It can be if it has to be a 10-second operation.
Yeah.
Now, does that change whether or not I'm going to take that shot? No. You and I are both going to take that shot. I'm going to say there's a 95% chance that shot's finding home. Now, you take somebody else that I've got a number of friends that come out here at my place. They literally show up sometimes opening morning to put their gun on paper. Oh, I need to make sure my gun's zeroed. When did you shoot it last? Well, 2 deer seasons ago, last time I took my deer. Are they going to take that shot? Never. They're not going to shoot over. They're going to look at a shot that's at 350 yards, and they're going to pass on that shot.
Yeah.
Because that's way too far away. Now, is that because of technology? I can put them behind a Burris Eliminator 6. I can be with them, range it, adjust the knobs on the Vortex Viper for them. They still ain't going to take that shot. For me, technology is limited to the person that's running it.
Yeah.
So that's a two-way street question, I guess, for Wayne. Has it changed the game? Maybe.
Yeah.
But both bow and arrows. There's a big argument between these bow hunters that think they're better than everybody else. If you really think that my 390 foot a second compound bow or a what the hell are the rifle bows? What are they called? Crossbow. My crossbow is so goddamn easy, and that's not hunting heritage. Well, you better go whittle yourself a chunk of willow and tie a goddamn shoestring between it. And that if you want to get back to heritage, you can stick that right where the sun don't shine. It's a goddamn bow and arrow. Shut your mouth and go hunt.
So Eric says maybe doing the trigonometry in your head on the fly because the computers do some of it for you now. Makes it a little easier, which it is. Brian Warner says thousands of dollars of equipment will never compensate for poor breathing and trigger control. That is
absolutely
very true. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Brian Warner, I saw his name on there, and I saw old Dan.
Yeah.
Dickinson's not having their NRA banquet anymore, are they?
I have no idea. I
looked it up. I looked it up the other day on the Friends of NRA site, and there's only like 2 in the whole state.
Really?
Yeah, there was Grand Forks and Watford City listed, I think.
Wow.
Here, let me jump on that right now.
I agree. If we used to have like 15, 16 of them in this state,
I know.
and another 15 in South Dakota, we were all over the place doing those things. We raised a lot of money for a lot of things, man.
Friends of NRA events in your area. Search. Oh, my phone's freaking out because it's got a bunch of humidity on it.
That's what you get for sitting in a hot tub doing a radio show. Good grief. We haven't far the. He says maybe 5 already. Oh,
say that again.
Brian says haven't had it in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Well, now they got 3 events. Dakota Rough Riders in Mandan, Bakken in Watford, and
Grand Forks probably.
And Forks. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too bad. I used to go around and have a lot of fun at those.
Well, it's tough. You and I both know that getting help,
volunteers,
getting help that's willing, volunteers, and getting help that's willing to go there and go after the sponsorships. There again, it's no different than asking for land access. You got to be able to go and talk to these businesses, explain that this goes to a good cause. It's not the political side of the NRA. It's the shooting sports and the youth hunting and education. We're trying to make sure that kids know what to do if they find a gun. We're trying to make sure the kids have gun ranges to go to learn how to hunt properly. And you explain what the Friends of NRA does, boom, checkbooks open, you get sponsorships, but you got to be willing to go talk to them people. And I guess I'm trying my damnedest to get my two kids not afraid to go talk to people, whether it's a landowner, a business owner, for an interview, to get a job. The face-to-face communication skills have went to put it quite frankly, they've went to shit. There ain't any anymore.
Well, let's see. Darren says, Scott, your guys' events were a blast. I tell you, the one in Scranton was something. That was a
well, he had some extra babysitting to do that night, and that might have been my fault.
That was a let me tell you, the probably the most illegal raffles and drawings that we've ever had in our life was because everything was alcohol based.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy House sent me a text here I didn't see. He brought up a couple other scope names. He says the scope business has always been changing. Companies that used to be around have disappeared or been bought out by others, such as Redfield, Bausch and Lomb, Weaver.
Yeah.
Weaver, you'll still see at the old Wolf Auctioneers or G&G gun auctions. Here's a Winchester Featherlight Model 70 with a Weaver scope on it.
Yeah.
All the young people like, what the hell's a Weaver scope?
and all the
70 to 80-year-old guys are getting little fit in their pants because they got a little extra blood flow going on because they heard Weaver scope. It's like, come on, fella.
It's Weaver.
They still make scope mounts, bases and mounts.
Oh yeah.
They don't make scopes anymore, though.
Oh.
So what do you got in the docket for the rest of the day? You moved your pairs yesterday.
I'm going to go back and sweep the there were some calves that came back, so I left the gates open so the cows could come back and get them. So I'm going to go back and try to go do another sweep.
Yeah.
Try to get them and double check a few things.
You pushing them out to branding pasture, or where are you pushing them to?
Pasture between the branding pasture and the calving pasture.
Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, that's right. There's one in between there.
Next step.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about your ones to the east? What are you doing with them?
I opened the gate up into the small branding pasture, so they're kind of they kind of got
doing a self sort.
Yep. They just let them spread out a little bit. Still feeding them. The grass is pretty short in that pasture, so still feeding them a little bit.
Yeah, we were fortunate up here last weekend. Over 3 days, we got about 3/4 of an inch of rain right here at my place. That's great, but it's just we need that about every third day for a month here to catch up with no snow cover, man. We're hurting up here, and I know you're hurting down there. It's a scary situation going into this spring between grass availability and fire danger, and I'm feeling for all the farmers and ranchers, man. It's don't care how high the prices are when you're in a drought situation like we're in this spring.
Yeah. Waylon says he might make it to the branding this year unless Cash has a baseball game. Good.
Okay.
Good deal.
Yeah, I believe I'm going to make branding this year. I think our Florida trip that the wife booked, it does not overlap it like it did last year. At least I'm hoping so.
There you go. Florida.
So I tell you what, it was pretty all right. We were on the West Coast on the Gulf side, just north of Tampa. Rented an Airbnb in a mid-rise little condo type of situation. There was a pool. There was about 100 yards of sand and whatnot, and the ocean. And the ocean kind of freaked me out when I got in it the first time, because I mean I've done a fair amount of scuba diving and farting around in the ocean, and let me tell you, the ocean is an interesting thing. It's usually colder than hell. I walked into that water and it wasn't quite as warm as this hot tub I'm sitting in, but it was weird. It was warm. The Gulf Coast is if you don't like the ocean because the water's cold, go to the Gulf Coast. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm not a big ocean guy, right? It's always usually windy. And if I'm going to go on vacation, I understand people want to go on the beach and stuff, but there's nothing to really look at. I mean, it's just flat in the water. That's it.
Yeah, and you're not a water guy. You're not a swimmer. You're not a snorkeler or a scuba diver. So you could care less what's under the water unless it's on a hook.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Darren.
So yeah, I can see where that wouldn't be your thing.
Who goes to Florida in end of May? He said that time of year. What the hell?
People with kids that are in sports constantly and jobs that don't allow you to necessarily get away, and hunting seasons and businesses to run, and that's when your wife tells you you're going, and that's pretty much the main thing probably.
Yeah. Well, you get to go to the Gulf of America this year then.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's a whole new vacation. I can mark two places I've been, the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf of America.
There you go. Waylon's going to head down to his place. That's right. It's Easter weekend. I forget about that again. He's going to go take care of some sod dogs.
Yeah, they'll be out. They've been out for a while.
Yeah. They're out all winter.
Yeah, yes, they are. How's your big town? Has it woke back up again, or is it still pretty good?
They came back with a vengeance. If the guy doesn't keep poisoning them until they're all gone, they just come right back, man. Yeah.
I've had some guys ask me if you still have them because they want to see if they can come down and do some slaughtering, and I told them I'd have to ask you because I wasn't sure.
Tell them the price is $5 for every one they miss.
Well, it was the titmouse and his cousin, so
yeah. Well, I suppose, man.
Now that he's been down there and seen that country.
Yeah. The flattest part of the whole ranch is the prairie dog town.
That's the truth. It's flatter than your hayfields.
It's probably smoother too.
and just as smooth. That was you beat me to it.
Yeah, I got to get Lucas to finish up the wiring of my tractor so I can get my land leveler and start leveling some fields.
What are you wiring? What's going on?
I had an issue with the headlights. Only 2 were working. And
I know what that's all about.
Yeah. So he thinks it's some resistors that's creating an issue. So
I have almost 0 working.
Yeah. But the problem I had last year was I had to wire my baler monitor direct to my battery because the wiring issue that whatever is happening wasn't giving enough voltage, and it was creating some issues, man. So I had some bales that had 1 wrap, and I had bales that had 100 wraps and net wrap, and some that didn't get any wraps, and it was just messing up. So I wired it direct, and it fixed that issue. But I just like it to work the right way.
Yeah. Well, I know all about electrical issues between my 30 series John Deere tractor and now the boat that I bought. I still think that I still think it's some sort of computer or electronics that's making it run a little goofy. So we'll find out. She's at the dealer right now, and hopefully they get that fixed soon, because let me tell you, the lake is open.
Yep.
It is time.
Yep. Time to get some hooks wet.
Yep.
And
when you texted me yesterday, I figured that's what you were going to want to talk about was fishing season, but that can be a topic for a couple weeks here.
Got to be in the water and actually fished at least once this year before we can talk about how the season's going.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you're really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on calving here. As soon as you're caught up calving and before branding season is 1,000% in swing, you might have to sneak up here, and we might have to spend a day and a half on the water, or maybe a Saturday morning show. We still need to. I wonder if we can broadcast from the water.
We'd have to check that. So the question, Wayne says, is Piper's having an auction this spring in steel? Yes, and that is
Next weekend?
That was last week.
Oh, it was last week. Okay.
Yeah, or this week. It was like Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, of this week is when it was.
Okay.
So it's all done. So there you go. There you have it.
The experiment we need to do is we need to see if your computer will hook up to my Wi-Fi hotspot and recognize that as regular internet and not mobile, and allow us to hook up to YouTube and broadcast.
Yeah, we need to do a test run.
Because if that's the case, then we can do it from the boat. We just got to make sure we're in a fishing area that has good enough cell service.
No.
So next time you come up here or I come down there, we need to just unhook your laptop and go sit at the top of the hill and give her a quick test run.
Yeah. Yeah. Can do that. Be nice to do one. I can pull out the old school dial-up freaking phone one. My old sports
box
broadcaster set. I bet those headsets are just deteriorated already. Ugh.
You still got that?
Oh, yeah.
That set?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how things have changed, man.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I'm going to get some shit going on here today, so you have yourself a good one.
Sitting on top of the hill at your mom's opening morning right beside the people that are trying to illegally hunt your land, and they're listening to us on the radio, and it takes them about 5 minutes to show it to realize, and they look over at us, and then they leave. They're like, "Ah, shit."
I forgot about that.
All right, we'll catch you later.
All right, see you, man. All right, YouTubers, thank you guys for catching with us here. Got to have wind around that, right? Yeah, exactly. You guys have a good one. See ya.